Blair. I'm the district engineer for the Missouri Department of Transportation in the St. Louis region. Thank you for coming this morning. Thank you for covering this story. April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. And a key part of for us as transportation professionals and people is National Work Zone Awareness Week, and that is this week. MoDOT is asking motorists to partner with us, our families, our contractors, by making safe, responsible choices behind the wheel and slowing down when driving through work zones. This week is National Work Zone Awareness Week. This is the week that our nation is reminded that seeing construction on the roadways is more likely as temperatures warm up from the winter. I would like to welcome our neighbors to the east. We're going to hear from them in a minute. Our partners from Illinois. We're here near one of their major projects, our shared major project that you'll learn more about during this press conference, as well as associated work on the Missouri side we're going to talk about. I'd also like to welcome our contractors that you'll hear from, our families that have been impacted, and our law enforcement partners to this event today. So thank you all for coming. Traveling through work zones can be risky. It's risky for our workers. It's risky for our contractors. And it's risky for drivers. And it gets even riskier generally when we see these high speeds, and we have been seeing a lot of high speeds lately on our roadways, including these high speeds in our work zones. As speeds increase, so does the potential for crashes, and even worse, the severity of those crashes. In 2025, 11% of the crashes in work zones were due to drivers who were speeding or driving too fast for conditions. We want to share some of the impacts from those crashes with you today, from ourselves as Departments of Transportation, from our contractor, and from the families that have been impacted. I hope today we can encourage people to slow down. We can encourage people to pay attention, and we can encourage them to drive safely through work zones. That helps reduce the risks for everyone involved. On any given day, there are approximately, on the Missouri side of the river, there are approximately 1,000 active work zones. Every day in the state of Missouri, 1,000 active work zones. They range from small teams that are just simply picking up the litter, sweeping the shoulder, patching a pothole, to much larger teams like you'll hear about from our contractors who are actually rebuilding chunks of pavement, pieces of pavement and bridges, like we see right here behind us. Our workers and our contractors team work hard to set up these work zones safely and to give drivers enough room to safely make decisions to merge out of the closed lanes so that we can all get home safe. We cannot do it alone by just setting up the work zone. We need everyone's help. Your safety and the safety of the roadway workers depend on making sure that you as a driver pay attention. Last year, in 2025, MoDOT was struck 50 times. I'm sure Illinois is going to tell you about this TMA behind us more, but we were struck like that 50 times all across the state of Missouri. That was a significant increase from 2024, the year earlier, when we were struck only 34 times. Our protected vehicles are driven by public servants, traveling behind the crews of other public servants who have to get out of the vehicle to actually repair the pothole, pick up the trash, do whatever needs to be done on that road. And so our public servants protecting them are doing a very important job to ensure that our employees that are out of the vehicle are not struck and injured. And I'm really happy to say all 50 times that we got struck last year, our employees were not physically struck. The vehicles were struck, and all of our employees were able to go home. These big yellow vehicles that get struck are in your way. I get it. And you have a responsibility as a driver. They're big, they're bright, they're yellow, they have lights, they have noises on them, all sorts of stuff to try to get your attention. So please pay attention. These work zones are everywhere because we need to maintain all the miles of roads. Speeding through a work zone is like running through your office. You're going to hear more about that as our statewide campaign is launched this week all across the state of Missouri. We do not speed through we ask you to not speed through our work zones. Please don't speed through our work zones like we wouldn't speed through your office space if you work in the office. You're going to see videos throughout the week and billboards about this speeding through your office. How much more risky is it on a roadway where vehicles are in excess of 50 miles per hour than in an office? And when the drivers of those vehicles are distracted, so if you watch those videos, you're going to see our employees acting like if they were driving or running through your office space distracted, and how disruptive and violent that is to your office space. So pay attention to that social media and traditional media out there this week. Even more tragically, when I look back, 24 people were killed in work zone crashes last year. 24 people were killed. 24 people were not able to go home to their families. 24 people whose entire day changed in a split second. That is, how many too many? 24 too many. The real tragedy, all of them could have been prevented. 12 of those fatalities were contributing factors where the individual drivers were not paying attention. If they would have been paying attention, they would not have driven into that work zone the way they did. 11% of those crashes, of those 24 crashes in Missouri, were caused by someone who was speeding or driving too fast for conditions. So whether it was distracted or speeding, large contributors to those, and if they would have changed those habits, they would have arrived home safely. Before I talk about all MoDOT's projects, I'm going to take a break and let you hear from our partner Joe Monroe at Illinois DOT.
Before I start, on behalf of IDOT, we'd like to thank Tom for his 33 years of service. He's been a great and valued team member, and we do consider MoDOT our team. We actually work together. We talk weekly, if not more. Most people don't see it, but for us to do the major projects, like for us, I-255, I-64, I-5570, and the 270 project behind us, we have to coordinate because we want the goods and the services to be able to divert through and use the other parallel routes to be able to get through the St. Louis region or deliver to the St. Louis region as a whole. As Tom mentioned, we have one of our TMAs, and I have my very valuable teammate who drove it right here. I wanted to point out he's at the moment very well. The offending driver that actually smoked the TMA behind us that he was driving also walked away with very minor injuries. So we do an awful lot to protect the workers, but we need others' help. We need the drivers, we need the motorists. And if you're driving a vehicle and you see orange, whether it's in snow and ice or out on the construction like behind us, you're responsible not only for someone like Kevin, could be Tom, could be me, could be anybody here that puts on a vest, but you're also responsible for yourself and all your passengers and those around us, because preliminary statistics for 2025 showed that 35 people died in work zones within Illinois last year. None of them were workers. They were all the drivers or their passengers. While we may set up the work zone, we do everything we can think of to try to protect the folks that actually, as Tom pointed out, get out on the ground and do the work. We can kind of constrain that and limit when they work, the order in which they work, and actually the equipment that they utilize on the work. What we can't control is the speed of the traffic, the attention of the traffic, and exactly what they're doing or whether or not they're impaired in any way. That's why we ask for everyone's help. We're here today to ask for the public's help to not only keep everyone up here, but everybody here safe when they drive through work zones. We had 35 fatalities. The only real acceptable number is 0. We haven't reached there. We hope to get there, but we're going to have an absolutely large, robust program this summer. 270 is a multi-year project. We have several projects that have started or are about to start in Illinois. We obviously have the 2 major projects on the I-64 corridor. We have projects coming on the 5570 corridor. We clearly have 270 under construction. We have 157 at 162 that is closed for a major, much needed project. We have several other projects, the double roundabouts up in Godfrey, all the way down into Randolph County, and we have some all the way out in Marion County. So if you're driving in Illinois, not just in District 8, you will see orange a lot of places throughout the state. But we need everybody's help to keep those work zones and work locations safe. The theme for National Work Zone Awareness Week is safe action, save lives. So when you get behind the wheel, you're responsible not only for your vehicle, but you're responsible for everyone that's on the road with you, making sure you leave plenty of space. There's no need for aggression. Drive defensively, and when you see orange, whether it's a sign or one of these vehicles, please slow down. Don't be distracted. Put the phone down. Realize, as Tom pointed out, that's someone's office for the day, for the month, for the week, for the duration of that project. Obey the signs. We typically drop all the speed limits in major projects. We have the electronic signs, even though they've become rather ubiquitous, they give important information on every project. They tell you which lanes are closed. They kind of give you advance warning. We're working with the mapping agencies. We actually, in some of these vehicles, we're starting to roll out telemetry where the mobile work zones are actually being put in. So if you use Waze or Google or Apple, it'll actually say, hey, mobile work zone. It may not have been there yesterday, but it's here today. And obviously, slow down. Just because it says 55 miles an hour does not mean you have to do 55. We would like for everyone to realize that we do our best with traditional media, social media. We do interviews like this. In fact, I did 2 interviews before I came on here about the work that we're doing to repair the hole on the bridge deck on I-64. But everything for us to accomplish the work that we need to do on the roadways and bridges, it's going to take all of us. Please do your part, drive smart, and slow down. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Illinois DOT. We are good partners. We work together all the time on everything. On the Missouri side, when I look at projects, I want to give you a little heads up on some of those. I think a factor we all have to realize, I talk to a lot of people in St. Louis, and I want to remind everybody a simple fact of life is roads and bridges, especially in urban areas that are as robust as St. Louis, they wear out. Roads and bridges just simply wear out. So yes, during your lifetime, Joe's team and my team and our contractors will touch roads and bridges many times during a normal person's lifetime, especially where we have so much traffic. So as these roads and bridges wear out, we're really thrilled to be able to spend the taxpayer money and actually replace those roads and bridges and repair them so they stay smooth and they stay safe. So when I look at MoDOT in the St. Louis region, we have about $1.4 billion worth of active construction this calendar year. $1.4 billion in the St. Louis region, MoDOT does. That's over 100 active projects throughout the St. Louis region. Some of them are very large, like the Improve I-70 project, which is over $600 million improving I-70 and I-64 in St. Charles County. Some of these projects that will just be starting this year, some of them, like Joe said, with this 270 in North St. Louis County here project are multi-year projects. Some of them will be completed this year, some will go on more years. 90% of all of our projects are just taking care of the system. We aren't building new corridors, we're taking care of the system. That sounds easy, but it's not, because when we're taking care of the system, we're often asking you as citizens to be alert, to slow down, to give us space to get that very important taking care of the system work done. It was easier when I started years ago when we were building brand new corridors that weren't open to traffic in. And we don't really do as much of that anymore. A lot of MoDOT's construction projects continue on from last year. Some of them that continue that I think of would be behind us here. Illinois and Missouri work together. Illinois is the lead state to replace the I-270 bridges, Chain of Rocks bridges, also known as that, over the Mississippi River. But we're here in Missouri because right next to that is the Riverview Interchange. That interchange project is in partner with that, but MoDOT is fully funding the Riverview at 270 interchange project. We have completed the eastbound ramps. As you might have noticed if you came here today, we have a lot of work yet to do on the westbound ramps. All of this project should be completed, including a crossing on the river, by the end of this year. Another big project that's continuing on right now that's been impacting a lot of us in the St. Louis region is the work going on at 270 near 64, 270 in Conway, 270 in Ladue, 270 in 64 area. That work is one of our most heavily traveled corridors in the whole entire state, and we expect to have that completed later this summer. On I-55 in South City and South St. Louis County, we have a multi-year project that we hope to wrap up by the end of this year. Most of the attention has been on the bridge replacements, specifically down at 55 in Loughborough by the River de Pere area, but we also have pavement resurfacing as part of that project as we wrap up. If all goes well, by the end of this calendar year, we'll have the I-55 South City and South County work done. And I know a lot of people have been asking for that to be done. About 30 miles south of the Arch, on I-55 in Jefferson County, we have an expansion project. We're in our third year, and if all goes well, pretty much our final year of construction on I-55 improvements in Jefferson County. That's like approximately 20 bridges, $235 million, significant improvements, most notably new pavement, new bridges, and we're redoing the 61 interchange there. So we're really excited about wrapping that project up later this year. I mentioned out in St. Charles County, we have this large $600 million improvement in St. Charles County on I-70 and I-64. That's part of the General Assembly and the Governor's $2.8 billion improved I-70 across the state. So if you're traveling across our state outside the St. Louis region, you will experience works on I-70. In St. Charles County, we're on schedule to be done by the end of 2028. The whole entire corridor to make I-70 3 lanes each direction across the state of Missouri is on schedule to be done by the end of 2030. So we're not that far away from where we are now to get such a massive project, $2.8 billion to improve I-70 across the state, completed by the end of 2030. Also in St. Charles County, MoDOT has started the rehabilitation work recently on the Discovery Bridge. That's on Highway 370 going over the Missouri River, connecting St. Louis County to St. Charles County. We are doing significant, the first time since we built those bridges, we're doing significant rehabilitation work on that. We recently took 2 lanes of eastbound traffic and shifted them onto the westbound bridge. So we do ask for everybody, like all the other work zones, to be patient, to slow down, buckle up, be attentive as you go through drive 370. We also have a lot of pavement work that will be going on 370 this year. All of the work on 370 should be complete by the end of 2027. We have a whole entire list. I said we have 100 plus projects active, over $1 billion worth of active construction in the St. Louis region on the Missouri side this year and in the next year. There's a complete list on our webpage if you want to go to MoDOT.org to check that out. We have lots of projects I haven't mentioned, such as our sidewalk projects on a lot of our non-interstate routes, traffic signals, all sorts of pedestrian accommodations that we're making all across the St. Louis region. So please go to MoDOT.org, look for all of our major projects on that webpage. Also, I want to promote to everybody to, if you haven't already, download the Traveler Information Map app on your phone. It's also available on our traditional webpage. That helps you prepare for where these work zones are before you get out on the road and drive. That'll help you be patient and build that time into your travel schedule so you don't have to speak through the work zones. Motorists can also go to our MoDOT.org and you can fill out a work zone report. You can give us and our contractors feedback on how we're doing. So again, go to MoDOT.org. You have the power as a citizen to give us direct feedback through our work zone report card. And finally, if all that doesn't work, you can call MoDOT. We are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call 1-888-38-ASK-MoDOT, which is 275-6636. You can get transportation information, and also importantly, if you see something, you can tell us, and we can prioritize and get that addressed. To speak about the efforts of our contractors today, we have Zach Maggio. So Zach is here, and he's going to tell you from a contractor perspective about work zone safety.
Thanks, Tom. As he said, my name is Zach Maggio. I'm the safety director at Keeley & Sons. We're a Southern Illinois contractor. We do a lot of bridge and highway work in the area. We're actually on this 270 Chain of Rocks bridge right here. It's going great. I'm also representing Southern Illinois Builders Association. They're a great partner to be with and work with. They do a ton for the construction industry, and Southern Illinois, and we just really appreciate them. And last, I would like to thank IDOT, MoDOT too, for hosting this event. It's just a great event to get awareness out there. So the challenge of work zone safety, as safety professionals, we feel confident in mitigating and eliminating risk on the job site. However, in work zone safety with live traffic is one of our biggest concerns. It is one area where we can follow the traffic control plan to a T, but we cannot account for distracted and impaired drivers. The reality of work zone safety, an average of well over 800 work zone fatalities a year has been reported over the last several years. And this number's on the rise, not on the decline. We can put that to cell phone use in work zones, speeding, and we'll get into a little bit of that here in just a moment. Shared responsibility on the road. We all need to work together to ensure we are protecting our workers who are spending their day building and improving our roads and bridges. I see these guys every day, man. They're like our family members. We want to take care of them and look out for them. This is done through avoiding distractions, putting your cell phones down, keeping both hands on the wheel, keeping our eyes on the road and those working near it. When we're approaching our work zones, we can do this in a safe manner, all right? As we approach work zones, we should be slowing down, making sure we're aware of equipment and other vehicles around us. It's for both our safety and the safety of workers out there. Like Joe mentioned earlier, a lot of the times this isn't even the workers dying in these crashes, it's the actual drivers that are operating the automobiles that are driving or that are dying. National push for worker protection. The push for worker safety has reached the forefront with the AGC of America supporting the Safe Roads for Those Who Serve Act, introduced in the Senate. The legislation aims to protect workers and first responders near live traffic by implementing improved data collection and analysis, highway worker injuries and fatalities state to state, establishing requirements for highway worker safety plans when incidents rise over a 2-year period, creating broader awareness campaigns on roadside worker safety, continuing federal research and outreach efforts, and requiring major infrastructure and grant applicants to include safety protections for roadside workers and traveling public. Illinois law, move over and slow down. All right, this is Scott's law in Illinois. It requires motorists to move over and slow down for emergency roadside vehicles. As of 2026, the law updated to require motorists to slow down and move over regardless of whether the vehicle is stationary or not. So if you guys see those flashing lights, whether orange, blue and red, make sure you guys move over. That can really limit those risks for those workers out there in those zones. And then be a champion for work zone safety. All right, we all need to be champions for work zone safety. As you can see, it's affected so many people, so many deaths that could have been prevented, and we want to prevent that in the future. Allow extra time to get where you're going so you don't get in a rush and create dangerous situations. I know this personally. I got 2 little girls at home. It takes a little bit to get out of the house, but don't take that extra chance. If you do leave late, don't rush through those work zones, okay? Don't try to make up the time in there. And don't drive fatigued. It's just as dangerous as being impaired by drugs or alcohol. And then the biggest one, like they've mentioned several times, always abide by work zone reduced speed limits. And then in closing, why all this matters, we all want our workers to go home to their families, all right? In the end of the day, that comes down to looking out for one another. And I was reading some scripture this morning, and it seemed perfect for what we were going to talk about today. Philippians 2:4 says, "Let each of you look not only to your own interests, but also to the interest of others." And that's exactly what work zone safety is about: slowing down, paying attention, making decisions that protect all the people around us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Zach. Well, if that's not enough, it's going to get personal now. I'm going to have 3 different family members come up from 3 different team members that paid ultimate sacrifice. I want to start with Tanya Musgrove. In 2021, MoDOT lost 2 of our team members during a crash on Telegraph Road. On that day, we lost Caitlin Anderson, Tanya's daughter, and her unborn grandson, Jax Jarvis. So Tanya, you come up and
Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Tanya Muscott. I stand here before you as a grieving mother, speaking on behalf of my daughter, Caitlin Anderson, and her unborn son, Jax Allen, who should still be here with us today. Caitlin was a dedicated MoDOT worker, someone who took pride in helping our community. She took pride in helping our roads be safe for all of us. She was 6 months pregnant with my grandson, Jax, excited, hopeful, and looking forward to becoming a mother. But Caitlin and Jax were tragically taken from us when a driver went through a work zone and did not slow down and move over. In an instant, our family lives were changed forever. Caitlin's dad, Chris, her brother, Bryson, and I are here today carrying a loss that no family should ever have to endure. Instead of preparing and watching our grandson grow, we are left holding memories and heartbreak and the responsibility to speak up in her name. That way no other family has to experience this life-alternating pain. Work zones are not just areas of inconvenience. They are workplaces. They are places where people like Caitlin dedicated themselves to improving our communities and keeping drivers safe. The orange cones, the warning signs, the flashing lights, those are there for a reason. They are there to protect lives. Behind every safety vest is a human like my Caitlin, with a family who loves them, a future ahead of them, and dreams that deserve a chance to come true. Caitlin had dreams, big dreams. Jax had a future. Both of their lives matter, and they still matter, and they always will matter. Today I'm asking every driver, please remember, put the phone down, pay attention, slow down and move over. No text is worth a life. No distraction is worth a family's heartbreak. No moments of rushing is worth the loss of someone's child. Slow down and move over law is not a suggestion. It's a life-saving responsibility that all drivers must take serious. When you see a work zone, slow your speed. When you see workers near the roadway, move over when possible. Stay alert, stay focused, value the lives of people working just feet away from passing traffic. Because those workers are mothers, they are fathers, they are sons, they are daughters, they are people just like Caitlin was. They are people like you and I. My daughter should still be here, chasing after her son. Instead, I'm here today speaking their name in honor of their memory. If sharing Caitlin and Jack's story causes one driver, just one, to slow down, if it causes one driver to put their phone down, if it saves one life, then their legacy will continue to make a difference. Please help us spread this message. Help us protect the women and men working our roadways. Help us prevent another tragedy. Let Caitlin and Jack's memory be a reminder to all of us. Slow down, move over, pay attention, and put the phones down. Save a life. And I hope everyone that's listening today understands. If you take a life, you are ruining a family's life as well. Please slow down and move over in work zones. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. I spoke earlier about protective, and so did Joe at IDOT, about protective vehicles that we use to warn traffic of work zones, as well as other efforts our crews and our contractors use to make work zones safe as possible. Another family that was impacted was the family of Lyndon Epker, who was killed in April of 2016, just before that year's start of Work Zone Awareness Week. I'd like to ask Kelby Herbal, his granddaughter, to share a few words.
Hello everyone, my name is Kelby Herbal. This is my sister Audrey Herbal. We are the granddaughters of fallen MoDOT worker Lyndon Herbal. In chapter 25 of Matthew, Jesus tells a parable about 3 servants. Each servant was given bags of silver. The servant who had received 2 bags of silver came back to his master with 2 more bags. His master replied, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." I believe these are the words that my grandfather, Lyndon Epker, heard when he entered heaven. My grandfather spent his whole life serving others. One winter, a school bus was stuck on a hill by my grandpa's house due to the snow. He came out with buckets of ash, spread them on the snow-covered road, and got the bus of kids safely up the hill. He did not have to help. That's just who he was. He even chose to work a job where he was directly assisting people. Through being a MoDOT worker, my grandfather ensured that people made it safely to their destination. He put his life on the line and made the ultimate sacrifice to ensure the safety of others. John 15:13 says, "There's no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends." My grandfather's friends did not only consist of the people close to him, they consisted of all of you. He gave his life to ensure the safety of those he had never even met. My grandfather was also a steward to my faith. When I was younger, he would make the 25-minute drive from Stony Hill to Leslie every Sunday so that we could attend church together. He gifted me a Bible for my 7th birthday, the last one that I got to spend with him. Many of my fondest memories consist of sitting in his lumina with him before church service, along with reading the Bible together. On April 7th, 2016, my grandfather was taken from me. I did not get a goodbye, a last hug, or even anticipate his death. I lost my best friend 10 years ago due to an unobservant driver. The man who hit and killed my grandfather did not slow down to think about the family he had waiting for him to come home. He did not think about his daughter waiting for a reply to the last message she had sent her dad. He did not think about the 2 little girls at school excited to visit Grandpa again that weekend. We as drivers need to acknowledge the fact that everyone on the road, whether it be fellow drivers, first responders, or road workers, all have families to go home to. I understand that we are all busy, but our agenda is not more important than the lives of others. When you are behind the wheel, please pay attention not only to the signs posted, but those around you. There is nothing stopping you from destroying the lives of others besides asphalt and some painted lines. Put yourself in the position of others. How would you feel if an inattentive driver was the reason that your family member was unable to return home? Thank you.
Thank you, Kelby. Now, if I might ask Josie Baird and her family to come up. Josie's husband was a contractor sitting on the work zone in Illinois when he was struck and killed. Josie.
Good morning. My name is Josie Beard. My husband was Dennis Beard. It will be 14 years next month since mine and my children's lives changed forever. My husband, Dennis Beard, was taken from us by a speeding driver in a work zone. He was 38 years old. At that time, we had 3 young children, ages 11, 8, and 4. It was way too soon for Dennis's life to end. He had so much left to do, so many things unfinished. He had dreams, goals, hobbies, and most importantly, he had kids to raise. All of this heartache that the 4 of us have carried for the past 14 years was caused by one person speeding through a work zone. One morning, Dennis left for work on a Tuesday, just like any other day. It was the first day of summer break for our 2 oldest children. 3 hours later, after he left home, I received the worst phone call imaginable. Dennis only lived a few short hours after that call. As a family, we have lived the past 14 years going through so many of life's big moments. The first day of school, the last day of school, birthdays, graduations, and even the birth of our first grandbabies. Always asking the same question. Why is it fair that Dennis didn't get to experience any of these moments? Our story is not unique. It is just one example of the lives that are lost every year during road construction. During the busy seasons when work zones are everywhere and people choose to ignore them. Work zones are not inconveniences. They are someone's workplace. They are where fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters go to earn a living, and they deserve to come home at the end of the day. One decision, just one, can change everything. Speeding, not paying attention, thinking you can get there just a little bit faster, that decision doesn't just affect you. It affects the families like mine for the rest of their lives. 14 years later, here we are still living with that moment. So today, I'm asking you to do something simple, but something that matters. Slow down in work zones. Pay attention. Respect the people working on the road. Because behind every vest, every hard hat, and every set of cones is a life that matters. A family that is waiting for them to come home. And no family should have to live the story that we've lived. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelby, Josie, Tanya, for sharing those stories to give us all a sense of why it all matters. So us as humans on this planet, it matters. People matter. The team members at MoDOT, IDOT, and the contractors matter. The drivers' lives matter. They're all important to us. We do not want to lose any lives in our work zones. No fathers, no mothers, no spouses. We want everyone to get home safely. And there are a lot of risks in the work zones, and we need everyone to do their part to slow down and be attentive when they're driving through work zones. And if you can't, there might be other consequences. So that gives me an opportunity to invite up our law enforcement partners who might remind us about some of those consequences. We're going to start with Missouri Highway Patrol Sergeant Andy Gabriel.
On behalf of the Missouri State Highway Patrol, I want to thank our partners at the Missouri Department of Transportation for their continued commitment to keeping Missouri roadways safe. Work zones are a sign of progress. They mean roads are being repaired, bridges are being strengthened, and infrastructure is improving for everyone who travels our highways. But for the men and women working in those zones, it's also their workplace. Every cone, every barrel, every warning sign is there for a reason. Behind them are real people, mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, working just a few feet from moving traffic. Too often we see crashes in work zones that could have been prevented. Speeding, distracted driving, following too closely continue to put lives at risk. Our message today is simple: slow down, stay alert, and move over when possible. Missouri State Highway Patrol will continue working alongside MoDOT to enforce traffic laws in work zones and hold drivers accountable when they put others in danger. At the end of the day, our goal is simple. We want every worker to go home safely to their family and every driver to arrive safely at their destination. We ask you to work with us, slow down in work zones, because lives depend on it.
Thank you, Sergeant. Next up, I'd like to invite from the Illinois State Police, Captain Casey Farrow.
Good morning. I'm Captain Casey Farrow with the Illinois State Police, and I'm the Troop 8 Patrol Commander. Illinois State Police is pleased to join the Illinois and Missouri Departments of Transportation and our community partners in recognizing 2026 Work Zone Safety Awareness Week. ISP is dedicated to partnering with stakeholders throughout the region to protect construction zone workers, first responders, and the motoring public. Every day, ISP deploys officers to construction zones to monitor traffic flow and identify drivers who disobey work zone speed limits and violate other traffic laws. With many construction projects throughout the state, ISP reminds drivers that speeding, distracted driving, and driving while impaired, especially in work zones, are serious offenses. In just the first 3 months of 2026, ISP has already handled 640 crashes and recognized work zones across Illinois. Of those, 91 resulted in someone being injured. Already this year, 8 of our troopers have been struck by people who failed to slow down, move over, and yield to an emergency vehicle. 2 of those troopers suffered serious injuries.
We want to take this opportunity to remind drivers about the Move Over Law in Illinois, also known as Scott's Law. It requires drivers to move over and slow down when approaching both stationary and moving emergency vehicles with their emergency lights activated. The Move Over Law not only applies to law enforcement vehicles, but also ambulances, fire trucks, IDOT emergency traffic vehicles, tow trucks, and other authorized emergency vehicles. It also applies to first responders and emergency workers who are out of their vehicles performing their duties at an emergency scene. We will continue to educate the public about the importance of moving over and slowing down as you approach emergency vehicles and crash scenes. But we will also stand by the words we teach and take action against those who choose to disregard the law. If you fail to move over and slow down in Illinois, you will get a ticket. We will not tolerate reckless behavior. The days of receiving a warning are over. Our message is clear: move over or get pulled over. Help us save lives. Remind your family and friends, we all need to do our part to keep the roadways safe. When you're driving and see emergency lights ahead, remember, slow down and move over. Thank you, and drive safely.
Thank you, Captain. In closing, this is a serious issue. Distracted driving contributed to 356 work zone crashes and 4 fatalities in 2024 in the state of Missouri. Last year, 11% of the work zone crashes in Missouri involved speeding and driving too fast for conditions. Your decisions, especially as a driver, can make a difference between arriving home safely, to your destination safely, or having deadly consequences. Anytime you pass workers on the roadway or roadside, remember that you need to pay attention. Buckle up at all times. Leave your phone at your side. Slow down. Stay alert. These are key behaviors that we all need to practice every day, but especially in work zones. So I thank you all for covering the story. I'm sure IDOT will do, any one of us will do individual interviews if you want that. As long as they can sit around, IDOT will probably talk about the truck if you want to do that. And I know Tanya's pretty proud of her new truck that she's got that many of you guys noticed when she drove in. If you want to talk to Tanya, she'd be happy to talk to you for fire truck also. So with that, we're done, and we'll take individual questions. So, thank you.